to call your name, to call your name. Purify our praise. Purify our hearts. Make our offering pleasing. And acceptable to you. Oh, King of Kabod. King of Kabod. King of Kabod.
Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High.
King of Kabod.
Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha.
Yahusha. Yahusha is your name.
All praise to the Most High. Shalom, shalom.
Yahusha.
Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. Told out to the Most High.
Yahuwah salvation.
All praise to Yahuwah.
Yahusha.
Yahuwah, we want to thank you, Father. We want to say Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah, for everything that you do for us, Father. Toda Rabbah, Father, for another day today, for another prayer day, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah for the Mishpachah, Yahuwah, for the Mishpachah, Father. Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah, for those who are called by your name, Father. For blessing us to know you and to guard your commands, for blessing us to seek your face and to know you and to guard your laws, Father, and to walk in your ways and to meditate on your statutes and to keep your, oh, Father, and to keep your charge and to seek your face and to do your will, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, to be able to, oh, Most High, be in your presence, Yahuwah. To be able to dwell in your house, Father. Oh, Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah. For the privilege and honor, oh, Father, to be in a part of the people of the Most High, to be in a part of the children of the covenant, to be in a part of the kingdom of the Shamayim. Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah, Baruch Atah, Yahuwah, Toda Rabbah Saba, O Most High. Oh, Father, how wonderful are your ways, how excellent is your name, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah, Father, for another prayer day, Yahuwah. Yahuwah, I pray in the name of Yahusha, Father. According to your loving kindness, Father, according to your tender mercies, Father, I pray that you baruch this discussion, Yahuwah. I pray that you baruch this word, Father. That it be your words and not mine, Yahusha. I pray that in the name of Yahusha, that everything that you want to be brought out, that it be brought out. That everything that you want to be stated, that it may be stated, Father. Let these words, Father, these teachings drop down like rain on fertile ground, that it may bring forth fruit in abundance, Yahuwah. That it may bring forth fruit, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, according to your loving kindness, O Most High, I pray that you continue to baruch your children, Yahuwah. Continue to guide your sons and daughters, Father. Continue to baruch, keep, and guide your children, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, that we may move forward, Father, and flourish in the courts of our Lord. That we may flourish in you, Father, as your people, Father, as your set-apart ones, Abba. Oh, Most High, let these words, Father, let these teachings, Father, spread throughout the four corners, Father. May your people praise your name, oh, Yahuwah. May your people worship you in Ruach and in truth continuously, Father. Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah, Father. For you are wonderful and worthy to be praised, and there's no one like you, Father. Oh, Most High, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Atah, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah for your Ruach, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah for all the Mishpachah, Father. Toda Rabbah for all of the Mishpachah you have blessed us with, Yahuwah. Because we can be like those people who are in the world roaming around like sheep without a shepherd, Father. We can be like those, Father. But yeah, you have called us, Father. You have chosen us. You have picked us. Oh, Father, so that we are here serving you, Yahuwah. Doing our best to serve you. Fill us with your Ruach, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah for your Ruach, Father. Fill us with your Ruach, Yahusha. Fill us with your Ruach, Yahuwah. Your Ruach HaKodesh. Everyone listening in, Father. Your Ruach HaKodesh, Yahuwah. Told Rabah for your Ruach, Father. Told Rabah, Yahuwah, for your presence, Yahuwah. May it be so and may it be established out of me. Oh, Baruch this call, Father. Baruch this word, Father. Baruch this lesson out of me. Baruch those listening in, Father, who are called by your name, Father. Give everyone eyes to see and ears to hear that they may be focused on you, Father. Give everyone eyes to see and ears to hear that they may receive everything that you want them to receive today, Father. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen.
Control of my mind. Take control. Take the reins of my heart. Guide my mind. Focused on you. Focused on you. Guide my heart. Guide my heart. Focused on you. Focused on you.
Man. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. Alright, y'all, we're finna go and get started. Hallelujah. Olam Hudim. Le Yahuwah, Le Yahusha HaMashiach. I am Mispar Hudim. Le Melech Musha. Le Melech Yahusha. Kefel Hudim. Le Malka Kayil. Le Malka Yada. Kefel Hudim. Le Rosha Luf Yithro. Le Rosha Aks Yeshayahu. Kefel Hudim. Le Alufim. Hagabira Malaka. Le Gabira Oats. Kefel Hudim. Le Hamushalim. Le Hamushala Oats. A special Kefel Hudim to my Isha. Mushala Amet. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha for her. All praise to the Most High for her. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha for her. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hudim. Le Sarar Ubakir Yamin. Le Sarar Ubakir Ezerot Hudim. Le Sarar Ubakir Yasim. Le Sarar Ubakir Yakum Yamin. Le Sarar Ubakir Yakuma Hudim. Le Hadarim. Ula Hadarot Hudim. Le Alufim Ula Imayot. Shalom Aleichem to all the Mishpaka. Shalom Aleichem. Lakol HaMishpaka. All praise to the Most High for all the Mishpaka. All praise to the Most High. Let's see who all on here. Shahonda Johnson, shalom and blessings to you. S. McCorkle, shalom, shalom. Natanya Smith, shalom and barakot to you. Shama Yahoo and Yermi Yahoo and Shama Yahoo, shalom and blessings, y'all. Cody Selah, shalom, shalom. Ari Moshe Israel, shalom and blessings. Kun Rakam Yahoo, shalom, shalom. Oh, snap. Deroy Yahoo, shalom and blessings. Oh, praise to Yahuwah. Malaki Yahoo, Hillawal, shalom, shalom to you. Shamar and Shakar, shalom and blessings, y'all. Ima Yasha Yahoo, shalom and Hudim to you. Liz R, shalom and blessings. Ari Moshe Israel, shalom, shalom. Missy LW Ringo, shalom and blessings to you. Zaria, shalom, shalom. Imuna, shalom and blessings to you. Chicago 9, Yahoo, shalom, shalom. What's going on? We looking forward to getting down there. All praise to the Most High. See who else? All praise to the Most High. All right, y'all. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. Come on in, we about to begin. I got a different setup. I don't know if I'm going to keep it this way, though. But come on in, we about to begin, y'all. Come on in, we about to begin. All right, y'all. So we're going to continue the journey through Enoch, y'all. So we're just going to get right into it. We're starting off with chapter 74. We ended off in 73 last Shavua, last week. So we're going to go into chapter 74, which is a very interesting chapter. So let's get right into it. All right. And we're going to plan is to go through 77, chapter 77. All right, 50, 60, this is 60, 75. That's chapter 78, so that ain't going to work. Let me get to the right chapter. 74. All right, there we go. 50, 60, 74. All right. And I saw another course, a law for her, and how according to that law, she performs her monthly revolution. And all these, Uriel, the Kodesh Malak, who is the leader of them all, showed to me and their positions. And I wrote down their positions as he showed them to me. And I wrote down their months as they were, and the appearance of their lights, till 15 days were accomplished. In single seventh parts, she accomplishes all her light in the east, and in single seventh parts accomplishes all her darkness in the west. So this is very interesting because this seems to be talking about the moon. And if y'all know anything about the moon, we just did new moon last week. It was New Year's was last Shabbat for us. What's very interesting about it is that the head of the moon is when it's a full moon. So when you count 15 days later from the full moon, which is the head of the month or the new moon, that's when the 15 days after that, the light is completely dark. The moon is completely dark. It goes in like a 14, 15-day cycle to where it's completely dark in on the 14th, 15th, roughly about the 15th day of the month. So that's why you will find several of the feast days are on that day of the moon or the month. So this is going. I did a whole series on this maybe a couple of years ago, roughly, on basically the courses of the moon. Why do we do new moon the time that we do it? How do you calculate what day is Shabbat? All those different things like that surrounding the Kodesh calendar of Yahuwah. Because y'all listen, everything surrounds around the calendar. Everything. Everything surround your entire life surrounds around the calendar you keep. And the calendar you keep always is going to reflect the allure that you are submitted to. Your calendar, the calendar is everything, y'all. And that's why I submit why and Enoch or Enoch is going through great detail regarding the lights of the Shamayim, because it is from the lights of the Shamayim that you get your calendar. Listen, y'all, a lot of the major civilizations of the world, they all their calendars are based off of the lights of the Shamayim. Most of them, yeah. The biblical calendar ain't the only one based off the lights of the Shamayim. Y'all know the Gregorian calendar that we go off of here in Babylon is a solar calendar. They base it off of the sun that Yahuwah created. They didn't come up with that calendar just off of their own mind. Yo, it's based off of the Shamayim, the things Yahuwah created. It's based off of the sun. In Babylon, they had a lunar calendar in ancient Babylon. It was a lunar calendar. It was based off the moon. Yeah. But Yahuwah's calendar is based off of the sun, the moon, and I submit even the stars. The positioning of the stars has a play in the Kodesh calendar of Yahuwah. See, all the other allures, remember, all the allures came from the Shamayim. The allures that people serve today, they're fallen Malachim. They're fallen angels. That's Enoch goes in depth in the beginning. We talked about all that. That the fallen angels is who the people is where you get these allures from now that everybody, all the other nations are given over to and that they worship. And so they had an understanding of the ways of the Shamayim, and they brought it down and tried to give some of these secrets to mankind. That was one of the biggest crimes that the fallen ones did, was they gave away all. It wasn't just the land with the women, but it was what came with it. Like they had disclosed secrets of the Shamayim, leaked it out to mankind. And it corrupted mankind on a whole nother level than it already was corrupted from sin. From Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, they sinned, and that corrupted the earth. It did. But man, listen, when the fallen Malachim came and then started disclosing the secrets from the Shamayim, that corrupted the earth on a whole nother level. Because when you're dealing with certain seed, and it's the same thing today, when you're dealing with the things of the Shamayim, there's boundaries to these things. There's an order surrounding these things. There's rules. Because these things are dangerous, and if you cross certain boundaries, it can cause major issues. It can cause major problems. And so you had these people who were receiving these secrets of the Shamayim, but didn't know what the boundaries were, what the rules were surrounding how to move with these different types of things. And so it became perverted and caused major destruction, caused major issues. You know, I mean, for real, like, I'll use this example just because, we talked about this extensively last year. Drugs. The fallen ones had shown mankind, it says, like the cutting of roots and different things like that. But what it's talking about is to be able to make drugs, mind-altering drugs, using the things Yahuwah created. You can take the plants that Yahuwah created and it'll be medicinal. It'll have healing properties. Or you can take the plants Yahuwah created and do different things to it to pervert it, and it'll cause people, it'll destroy people. It'll cause destruction through pharmakia and sorcery. Fire, it's like fire. Fire is created by Yahuwah. And with fire, you can warm up your home. With fire, you can cook your food. With fire, you can even use fire to purify your gold and to make all the things that were made in the tabernacle, all the gold things, the Ark of the Covenant, table of showbread, the altar of burnt offering, the altar of incense. I mean, and all those things like that were made with fire by the metal workers. So much so that Yahuwah had to remind them, hey, do not kindle a fire on the Shabbat. Yahuwah had to remind them, hey, don't kindle a fire on the Shabbat. Because the fire was one of the main things they used to make all the different Kodesh things that were in the tabernacle. To purify the metals and stuff. But that same fire can cause destruction if used in a perverted way. And this is an example is Nadab and Abihu. That's a great example. Anybody familiar with Nadab and Abihu and what happened? Anybody familiar with Nadab and Abihu and what happened? It's okay if not, because we're going to go ahead and go there. Let's see. This is in the book of Vayikra, or Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1. We're actually going to be on this Torah portion very soon. Look what it says here. It says, Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his censer and put fire in it. Now remember, Nadab and Abihu are sons of Aaron. Sons of Aaron were the ones who were actually... The sons of Aaron were the people who were, what's the word I'm looking for? Qualified or set apart to be able to do these things like offer up the incense. So he was doing what he was supposed to do in a sense. He's a son of Aaron. They're the only ones who can do that. And he is of that bloodline. Nadab and Abihu, they were of that bloodline. So that part was okay, at least so it seemed. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his censer and put fire in it, put incense on it, and offered profane fire before Yahuwah. That's why they messed up, because he offered profane or strange fire. And the King James says strange fire before Yahuwah, which he had not commanded them. So look what happened. So fire went out from Yahuwah and devoured them, and they died before Yahuwah. So you had two people who were of the priestly lineage. They went and they offered up a strange fire. That's what they were supposed to go and offer up the incense every day. That's what the sons of Aharon were set apart to do. If you read the book of Bemidbar, if you read, it's in all the Torah books, Shemot at the end, they go into that. You see right here in Vayikra, Bemidbar, and Devarim, all the books of Torah, maybe excluding Bereshit, go into that the sons of Aaron were to offer up incense and offer up the sacrifices. Only the sons of Aaron can do that. So they were within those boundaries, but what happened was they offered up a strange fire. And so even though, which is supposed to be a fire that is thub, right? It's supposed to be not a strange fire, but the altar of incense, the incense fire. It's supposed to be thub, an offering to the Most High, pleasing to him. But because they did something wrong with what they offered to Yahuwah, it was outside of the boundaries of what was set apart for that to be. The fire ended up consuming them and it destroyed them. And that's kind of the concept when it comes to Yahuwah's creation and the secrets of the Shamayim. You gotta know what you're doing. You can't just have anybody doing anything with set apart things that can cause destruction. Y'all remember the story when I can't remember his name right now, but the Ark, he had touched the Ark of the Covenant and died right on the spot. during the days of King David, and they were marching with the Ark of the Covenant. I believe they were trying to move it. And one of the ox, he was just trying to keep it from falling down, and he touched it and died on the spot. You got to understand the serious of when you're dealing with the Kodesh things, the weightiness of it, and how you don't want to just be willy-nilly moving any kind of way with the Kodesh things of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? Oh, okay. I just realized some of y'all had got it. Chepsy Bosh, she had got it. Strange Fire. Ima Yasha, okay. Yeah, a couple of y'all got it. I'll praise to the Most High. But I don't know why my stuff wasn't working at first. I can see y'all comments now though. But nevertheless, you gotta be really, when it comes to the secrets of the Shamayim, y'all, you gotta be really careful and make sure that you're not just being willy-nilly with the things of the Shamayim, because man, listen, it can cause destruction. It can destroy you. If you're dealing with those things without knowing the boundaries, without knowing, it's as if you play. It's like playing with fire. It's like it's actually worse than that. It's like, but that's the best example I can think of right now. So with that being said, you had all these secrets being leaked out by the fallen ones, but nobody knew the boundaries, so it caused great destruction. Great destruction on the earth. But I want to say that because a lot of y'all be handling the Kodesh things in certain ways. And you always want to make sure that you're moving with reverence of those things, that you're moving carefully, that you're not being willy-nilly, lackadaisical, and nonchalant when it comes to the things of the Most High. Even when you're dealing with scriptures, be careful when you're dealing with scriptures. Be careful when you're reading the scriptures. If you're teaching somebody, be careful about that. Make sure that you're doing it from a thub heart, from a thub intentions, and that what you're doing is accurate, and it's with thub intentions, not with the intention of trying to be seen, or with the intention of trying to fill a deficit or something like that, because you can cause yourself to get burned in a sense. But yeah, let's keep going. In 2 months, the moon sets with the sun. In those two middle portals, the third and the fourth, she goes forth for 7 days and turns about and returns again through the portal where the sun rises and accomplishes all her light. And she recedes from the sun, and in 8 days enters the sixth portal, from which the sun goes forth. And when the sun goes forth from the fourth portal, she goes forth 7 days, until she goes forth from the fifth and turns back again in 7 days into the fourth portal and accomplishes all her light. And she recedes and enters into the first portal in 8 days. And she returns again in 7 days into the fourth portal from which the sun goes forth. Thus I saw their position, how the moons rose and the sun set in those days. And if 5 years are added together, the sun has an overplus of 30 days. And all the days which accrue to it for one of those 5 years, when they are full, amount to 364 days. And the overplus of the sun and of the stars amounts to 6 days. And 5 years, 6 days every year come to 30 days. And the moon falls behind the sun and stars to the number of 30 days. And the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly, so that they do not advance or delay their position by a single day unto eternity, but complete the years with perfect justice in 364 days. In 3 years there are 1092 days, and in 5 years 1820 days, so that in 8 years there are 2912 days. For the moon alone, the days amount in 3 years to 1,062 days, and in 5 years she falls 50 days behind. To be added 1,062 days. And in 5 years there are 1,770 days, so that for the moon, the days in 8 years, the days in 8 years amount to 2,832 days. For in 8 years she falls behind to the amount of 80 days. All the days she falls behind in 8 years are 80. And the year is accurately completed in conformity with their world stations. And the stations of the sun, which rise from the portals through which it rises and sets, 30 days. Man, so that was chapter 74. Very interesting chapter. But one of the main things that I got out that it shows, I'll say that it shows, is the significance of the signs in the Shamaim, the lights in the Shamaim. It shows that the chief Malak Uriel is over those things. Uriel or Uriel, a light of Alua, is over the luminaries. According to the book of Hanuk, he's a governor of Yahuwah's Kabod. He's a governor of the Kabod of Yahuwah, something Malek Musha had brought out pretty strongly a couple of years ago, prophetically. But just going back in 74, it says, and all these, Uriel, the Kodesh Malak, who is the leader of them all. That's referring to the leader of the luminaries. Being governors of Yahuwah's Kabod. Because remember, the scriptures say that Shamaim declares his Kabod. That's referring, I submit, to the sun, moon, and the stars. Kabod is very close to Kokab, which is the Hebrew word for stars. Kokab and Kabod are very close as far as a lot of the same letters. They're related to each other because the stars bring forth the Kabod of Yahuwah. Kabod is closely related to light, y'all. To shining, light, Kabod. And the scripture said that Shamaim declares his Kabod. So if you go to Bereshit, this goes back to Bereshit. If you go to chapter 3, verse 14, this is day 3. Nope. 1 verse 14. Wrong chapter. Oh, man. That's wrong. This 1 verse 14. There we go. Then Alua said, let there be lights in the firmament of the Shamaim to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. So this is telling you right here, when you read Torah in Bereshit, that the lights in the Shamaim, the lights in the firmament, the sun, moon, and the stars are set apart to determine the calendar of Yahuwah. It says, let them be for light. It said, and let them be for signs and seasons. That word for seasons is Moedim, y'all. Moedim. I know when we think the word seasons in English, we're thinking spring, summer, winter, and fall, which that can mean that as well when you look at the word Moedim, but a better translation is really not seasons. It would be like the appointed times would probably be the best way to explain the Hebrew word Moedim in the scriptures, the appointed times of Yahuwah. So another way you can look at this is it says, then Alua said, let there be lights in the firmament of the Shamaim to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and Moedim, and for days and years. So Yahuwah literally created the sun, moon, and stars so that we can establish a calendar. The calendar of the Most High. So here's my question to y'all. Because one of the biggest, when I first came into this walk, you know, a while ago, 2013 roughly, 2014. One of the biggest issues was the calendar. That was one of the biggest debates, or I would say places of contention in Yasharel. It was this whole thing about the calendar. I know many of y'all probably know this. Well, we all know this is kind of the elephant in the room, kind of, is that you have a million different Israelite ministries, and they all have different calendars. They all keep their feast days on different days. Why is that? You see what I'm saying? Why? Why is it like that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the scriptures don't explicitly give you the calendar. It don't. You do your best by reading it, and you can get, do your best to interpret certain things, and do your best with that regard. But listen, it's not in there, not explicitly. It's not in there. The scriptures don't give the calendar away, and I submit that's on purpose. Hear me out, Natanya Smith. I get what you're saying. But the scriptures don't explicitly give the calendar away, and it's on purpose. What would happen if the scriptures was very black and white on exactly when to keep Pesach? Okay, you need to keep Pesach tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You need to keep Pesach on this exact day. You need to keep unleavened bread on this exact day. Now I know it does say that. It does give you that, but but it doesn't give you. Let me explain this better. It does not give you the exact days of the biblical month. You see what I'm saying? They don't give that to you. If they did, you would have all the Romans, you would have all the Russian Christians, you would have everybody aligning themselves up with our calendar. All these people that's been trying to replace us, man, they would have replaced us so quick and been moving in alignment with the full calendar. They would have tore that up. I'm telling you. The Most High did that on purpose. The sun's starting to go down out here. The Most High did that on purpose, y'all. You would have had the Vietnamese Christians. You would have had the Chinese. You would have had everybody trying to align themselves up with our calendar and saying they us. The calendar of the Most High is his people. The calendar of the Most High is to be given through revelation, y'all. You're going to get a lot of the concepts of Yahuwah's calendar in the scriptures, of course. You're going to know, like what we just read, that the sun, moon, and the stars is made for his calendar. You saw some hints in Exodus that the Abib, the barley was Abib, and so then he said, this is going to be your beginning of months. Y'all, every aspect of the calendar, all the ministries, every single ministry in Yasharel, they got different calendars. In my walk, before Rebirth, I was on, man, look. I think I done did all the calendars. The first calendar we did was we didn't know better when we first came in the walk. We wasn't a part of no ministry. It wasn't no man. Like, listen, we started in like 2013. We really started going hard in 2014. All there was the camps that at least in Texas, we didn't really know about anything other than the camps. So we was at home doing this walk as a just me and my, us as a family. We couldn't go back to the church. That was just too different than what we believed, and so we was like, we just gonna do this thing at home. And you know what? We ain't know better. We Googled when is Pesach. That's what we did. I just Googled when is Pesach. It said they gave me a date when I Googled it. I thought that was Pesach. So we kept Pesach based off of what Google said, which I learned later was that it's based off of the Jewish calendar, which is the Hallel calendar, Orthodox Jewish calendar, I believe, which they call it the Hallel calendar, which they use these set dates based off of their calendar and things like that. So that's what we started off doing. Then we had got with a ministry over the years, and then they were doing. So we just submitted to that. Cause what we gonna say? We're gonna be like, nah, we're not gonna keep the feast days with y'all because we don't agree with your calendar. No, they did what was called the sliver moon calendar, and so we just started. We just submitted to that. It just means that they start the month when the first sliver hits the moon. Not when it's a dark moon, but when you first see the first sliver, that's day one. That was a new moon for them, and then that's how they did their calendars. So then every like Pesach and things like that, it would be a full moon during Pesach roughly. Then we started keeping a dark moon, which is maybe about a day or two difference from the sliver moon calendar. Then we got with Rebirth and connected with the Melakim and at the time of some other people in the beginning. It was very interesting. We were still doing the dark moon, and everybody, we wasn't as we was just doing everybody was kind of doing their own thing at first, and then as things got more in their card, I had to really look at the full moon. I don't know if some of y'all might remember this. Malek Musha, he had a task. Y'all, if anybody remember this, y'all bring it out. But man, I remember this. I was excited about this. I was, man. But Malek Musha, he had this task where he was trying to unify all of Yasharal on the feast days. He was trying to unify them on the feast day in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And so he had all the main leaders in Yasharal at this time, not that are not in camps, but all the main leaders who had ministries at the time to come and bring out their case on why their calendar is the calendar to go with. You know what I'm saying? And so you had all these different leaders come, and it was like this dialogue. It was powerful. I remember that, man. It was like this dialogue where different teachers would come and they would present why the calendar they go by is the one we should do. And everybody came, and it was different people who came. I don't think everybody came, but a lot of different people came and presented their case. It wasn't a debate. It was just everybody presenting. Some people got a little, how it goes. Some people got a little debatey, but Malek wasn't trying to debate. He was just, hey, we were really trying to see, hey, why do y'all keep why do you all keep the feast days on the day that y'all do? Let's look, maybe, we can all come to an agreement. Maybe I'll look at what y'all come with, and I'll be like, oh man, now that's it, And you know what happened? Nothing really. Everybody just stuck with whatever they believe. But I know I fully changed my position when really studying what and looking at what we're doing here in Rebirth as far as with the full moon, for a lot of different reasons. I did several teachings on that in 2023. If anybody interested and want to actually look like in depth on that topic, if you go to the Rebirth ATX YouTube. It's the Rebirth ATX Prep Day Podcast Season 2. Understanding the Calendar of the Scriptures. It's Season 2, and it's like 4 or 5 teachings. I think it's 4 teachings. We go through all those things in depth. That's for those who care. A lot of people, they just like, man, look, because it's a lot of information. But I just say all that to say that information, y'all, that stuff was, a lot of that was through revelation. A lot of it was. That was revealed, y'all. But I will say this. Don't get caught up on the calendar stuff. Don't get too caught up on that, because when I say, I'm not saying don't study it. That's stupid. But don't get too caught up in it to where you making it a place of contention, because that ain't nothing but a distraction. Because in a sense, if we're the set apart people of Yahuwah, we are the calendar. In a sense, we are the calendar. We are the sun. We represent the luminaries. That's why a lot of times you see the children of Yasharal represented as the stars. As the stars in the Shamayim. When Yosef had a dream, he said, I saw the sun, moon, and the 11 stars bowing down to me. He said something along those lines. The sun and moon represented his mother and father, Yosef, and I think it was what is his mother name? Was it hold up. Raquel? And then the 11 stars was his 11 brothers who made up the other tribes of Yasharel. You go to Revelation chapter 12. It's a woman clothed with the moon and the sun and something like that, guarding the 12 stars. That 12 stars represents the 12 tribes of Yasharal. The list goes on and on and on. So what is that showing? That's showing that, and we learned this in Christianity, that they didn't know who Israel was, but they would always say Israel is Yahuwah's timepiece. It's Yahuwah's calendar. If you want to know what's going on prophetically, you want to look at Israel. That's who you want to look at. If you want to know what's going on from a biblical perspective, prophetically, you want to look at Yasharel. So serve Yahuwah. Keep his commandments. Walk in his ways. In Ruach and in truth. And if you're keeping his feast days and you're doing your best, he's going to honor that. I submit to y'all. He's going to honor that. But it's very interesting how the calendar, everything surrounds around the calendar. Everything. That is why the nations went through such great lengths to try to keep you from moving in Yahuwah's calendar. Moving according to the calendar of the Most High is aligning yourself with the Shamayim. It's aligning yourself with the Shamayim. It's aligning yourself with nature. For example, there are people, and when I first came in, I thought this too. I thought the day started at night. I thought the day started at sundown. You keep Shabbat when the sun goes down on Yom Shishi or on Friday. When the sun goes down and it's getting dark, that's when you start Shabbat. I thought that because that's what the other nations were doing. The other nations who kept Shabbat, they started on Yom Shishi at sundown, which is Friday at sundown. When in the scriptures, a day never started at night. It don't even make sense when you think about it. A day never started at night, y'all. And maybe some of y'all who might not have heard that before, I know when they were first bringing it out to me, it took me a second, because I was doing the other way for so many years, and I came in and they, and man, I never really studied it out though. I just went with what I was moving in, you know. But man, once they showed it in the scriptures, it's like, man, very obvious. A day starts at day, not at night. Shabbat starts in the daytime. Starts at sunrise, y'all. We're children of the day. Children of the day, not at night. We're sons of light. You know, the list goes on and on. So, just looking at a couple of things here. See if I can let me fix this so y'all can see this slide real quick. There we go. All right. This is Daniel chapter 7. Look at this. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. It says, he shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the Kodashim of the Most High, shall persecute the Kodashim of the Most High, the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and laws. Then the Kodashim shall be given into his hand for a time, half a time. Yeah. Go to the New Living Translation. It's a lot more clearer. Daniel 7:25. He will defy the Most High and oppress the Kodesh people of the Most High. He will try to change their sacred festivals and laws. Oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, okay. He'll try to change their sacred festivals and laws, and they will be placed under his control for a time, and half a time. I know a lot of y'all are familiar with that scripture. That already happened. That was prophetic. That's what Christianity did. Through Roman Catholicism, they specifically came to change the times and laws. They came to change the times and laws. I saw some Hebrew camps. They were keeping Pesach, and it was still winter. I thought that was interesting. We haven't even went in the spring yet, and they was keeping Pesach. I thought that was very interesting. We didn't even transition out of the dark season yet, and there were people keeping Pesach. But the Roman Catholics were on a whole nother level. They were literally, deliberately changing our laws and changing. That's why they said that the Christianity, they're the ones who said, okay, no more Shabbat. Sunday is the Kodesh day now. And we're going to call it Sunday. That was on purpose. So then you when you were going to church, they told you the day don't matter, didn't they? When you tried to say, hey, y'all, I think we should be keeping Shabbat. How many of y'all heard that? Y'all, you should be able to worship the Most High any day. The day don't matter to the Most High. You're supposed to worship him in all days. All days should be holy. It don't take all that. Ain't that what they told you at church? When you try to tell them, hey, look, the scriptures are showing we're supposed to be keeping Shabbat. A lot of times they'll be like, you know, all the days work. But then you'd be like, okay, then that means you don't need to do Sunday then. If you can do it any day. Oh, no. But Sunday, no, we're gonna definitely do that Sunday though. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Because Sunday was changed. Sunday was it was changed to the new holy day by the Roman Catholics. It was prophesied in the book of Daniel. It was going to happen. Not only that, they changed all the festivals. Why do y'all think that Easter is so close to Pesach? I submit Easter was on purpose to circumvent Pesach. Because the Roman Catholics, they did not want Yahshua to have all that influence anymore. They hated Yahshua. They hated our people, y'all. Y'all remember it was Rome who sacked us, who sacked the temple in 70 AD and destroyed Jerusalem. Killed millions of people according to some records. I believe the record in Josephus said it was over 1 million people that were killed by Rome during that siege. While they were keeping Pesach. They hated our people, y'all. And we still had a lot of influence. We still had a lot of drive. Number one, because we're the people of the Most High. So the feast days and all those things surrounded around our people, our culture, our book. So the other nations at that time had this great idea. Hey, they're not going to get away from this book. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this book. We're going to take their book. And we're going to make these decrees. Y'all can still keep the book. But we're going to make these decrees. Y'all not going to be able to do everything by the book. Matter of fact, y'all just focus on the New Testament. All that Old Testament, Torah, all that stuff like that, that's done away with. No more Sabbath. Y'all keep Yom Rishon. Y'all keep Sunday. No more Passover. Y'all keep Easter. Don't do that Passover. Y'all keep Easter. Don't do no Hanukkah, y'all. We gonna do Christmas. And the list goes on and on and on. On and on and on. Because if they change your calendar, y'all, they change you. They change the very ounce of your being. Everything about you surrounds around your calendar. Y'all, when I look at all my baby pictures, all my childhood pictures, I go to my mama's house or something, my parents' house, and I go look at old pictures and look at just memories, being of childhood. Primarily, the pictures that they have of me is Easter, Christmas. Your whole world revolves around the calendar you keep. All the family memories, all the family moments, all the times we get together surrounds around whatever calendar we decide to keep. So the majority of the pictures that I see when I want to see, just kind of reminisce, look at my baby pictures, look at stuff like that when I was young, toddler or whatever, is Easter pictures, Christmas pictures. So it does something to you, y'all. It does something to you. It becomes ingrained in your heart when you start keeping these feast days of Babylon. And it becomes, it's like sealed to your soul unless you do something about it. That you got to break that cycle. Some of y'all are the first of y'all generation to break that cycle. It's hard when you're the first one to have to break that cycle. It's hard. Because you alone, ain't you? You by yourself. Your whole family wonder why you're not coming to the Christmas gatherings no more. Why you're not coming to the Thanksgiving gatherings no more. The whole family. They stop dealing with you. You stop getting invited to the cookouts. Cause they don't know if you're gonna go or not. So now it's becoming awkward and weird. So then to the point they don't invite you no more. They don't. And it don't be like a lot of times it's just because they just don't know. It's awkward for them to even be around you now because there's such a gulf. So they don't invite you no more to the cookouts. You getting offended. Don't get offended. You wasn't gonna go anyway. You know you wasn't gonna go if they would have invited you. You just getting offended now because they didn't invite you. Why are Hebrews like that? They didn't invite you because they knew you wasn't going to come. You don't come to nothing no more. You used to get mad when they used to go hard and talk about you. You used to get mad about that and be upset when they talked about you because you was missing the Christmas meetings, the Christmas gatherings, the Thanksgiving gatherings, the Easter cookouts. You know, all used to you miss. But after about a few years of you missing them, now they stop inviting you to the cookouts and stuff. Don't get offended. Just move on and love them and keep serving Yahuwah, because you have aligned yourself with a totally different calendar than them. And the calendar is everything. So now some of y'all was able to switch over early enough so that your children, all their memories, all their pictures is going to surround around Yahuwah's feast days, Yahuwah's calendar. And so that's going to be ingrained in their very being as they grow older. Me and my children, we talk. We have, I've been doing this long enough to where now my children, even my oldest, we reminisce now back on, different times when they were young. My oldest is grown now. But we could reminisce back when he was, 8, 9, it was first time, and how it was, being in the tents for the first time, all these things like that, all the pictures we have. It's like, man, I remember that, oh man, and it's like ingrained in them. It's attached and sealed to their souls now. This is why Yahuwah knew we are wired, y'all, like this. This is why Yahuwah knew to give us feast days. This is why Yahuwah knew to give us a calendar. We are wired to align ourselves with a certain calendar. We are wired that way. He made us that way. It's a form of worship, y'all. It is a form of worship. The calendar you align yourself with. Your whole body adjusts to the calendar that you align yourself with. Like, listen. Anybody work nights? If anybody that work nights, you know that when you first start working nights, it's real tough. It's tough, period, to me, working nights. It's just tough. All right, Shout out to those who work nights, because look here. Yeah. But nevertheless, after you do it for a while, your body adjusts to where you naturally get up at night, because that's when you work, and you'll naturally start sleeping more during the day because that's your work schedule. Your body starts to shift and align with the calendar that's just a small example. But in a much bigger and larger way, the same is the case when you're talking about your Ruwako calendar. See, when it comes to Yahuwah's calendar, it's not like the heathen, where, like for example, Babylon is a lunar calendar. Or here in the Gregorian calendar, here in America, in this Babylon, it's a solar calendar. Yahuwah's calendar uses all the lights, the sun, moon, and the stars. That's why it said that in Genesis 1. He said, let there be lights in the firmament for signs and seasons, for days and years. All of the lights is what makes Yahuwah's calendar. All of them, the sun, moon, and the stars. If it's not using all of them, then that may not be the calendar of the Most High. It's 2 to 3 witnesses, y'all, that establishes a matter. 2 to 3 witnesses. And for the Most High's calendar, it's the sun, moon, and the stars. The sun gives you the days. The moon gives you the month. And in a sense, the stars give you the years, in a sense, as far as the alignment of the constellations. The sun gives you the day, the moon gives you the months, and the stars give you the years, y'all. It's important to understand that because you have some people who literally going off of a Babylonian lunar calendar. Y'all ever heard of people who do the lunar Sabbath? They be like, man, man, y'all ain't supposed to keep Sabbath on that day. You're supposed to count the moon for the Sabbath. That's what you're supposed to do. So that means the Sabbath is this Wednesday. And next week is Friday. And next week is Tuesday. Because when you do the calculations and you write it down and you do the math and you look at when the new moon is and you count this many days, that is the Sabbath. And so you have a whole movement of people who do that. But you told then what is the day? What is the sun for then? They don't understand that they totally aligned themselves with a lunar calendar. That's what Babylon did. You taking out one of the luminaries. The moon has nothing to do with the days of the week. They're totally separate. It's the sun that handles the days of the week. The sun. Sunrise, sundown, day one. Sunrise, sundown. That's why in Genesis 1 it said evening and morning, day one. Evening and morning. In other words, sunrise, sundown, sundown, sunrise. Evening and morning. Erev and Boca. Has nothing to do with the moon. And then you have the moon is what gives you the days of the month. The days of the week are different than the days of the month. Your moon will give you the days of the month. The sun gives you the days of the week. They are independent of each other. And you see that. That's what you see what we were reading in Enoch. That's what it was highlighting in the book of Enoch. It's even explaining how, I want y'all to kind of understand what we were reading, but it's explaining how after so many years, the moon falls behind so many days because the moon recycles every 29 days. 28 to 29 days, I believe is what it was saying. And the sun recycles every 7 days. It's a 7-day it's a 7-day cycle, I believe, which will give you roughly 28 days in a month. But the moon recycles every 29 to 30 days. So as the years pass, the cycles are this is different. If you can determine the days using the month, then the sun would have to recycle 30 exact days every month. It's just some stuff to think about, y'all. But let's keep going. Because again, I go in depth on a teaching I told y'all about. We ain't gonna do all that right now for time. 74. I already read that. 50, 60, 74. Yeah, I already read that. Let's go to 75. All right, chapter 75. And the leaders of the heads of the thousands who are placed over the whole creation and over all the stars have also to do with the 4 intercalary days, being inseparable from their office, according to the reckoning of the year, and these render service on the 4 days, which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year, and owing to them men go wrong therein, for those luminaries truly render service on the world stations, one in the first portal, one in the third portal of the Shamayim, one in the fourth portal, and one in the sixth portal. And the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations. For the signs and the times and the years and the days, the Malach Uriel showed to me, whom Yahuwah of Kabod has set forever over all the luminaries of the Shamayim, in the Shamayim and in the world, that they should rule on the face of the Shamayim, and be seen on the arets, and be leaders for the day and the night, the sun, moon, and stars, and all the ministering creatures which make their revolution in all the chariots of the Shamayim. This is huge, because this is going back over about being governors of the Kavod, being governors of Yahuwah's Kavod. It says, whom Yahuwah of Kavod has set forever over all the luminaries of the Shamayim. That's interesting. That's who Uriel is. Uriel is the chief Malak, whom Yahuwah set forever over all the luminaries. That's what I was referring to earlier. That they should rule on the face of the Shamayim and be seen on the Eretz, and be leaders for the day and the night. So this lines up with Torah. Let's see. Yeah, back here in Bereshit chapter 1, it says, and let them be for lights in the, Bereshit 1 verse 15, it says, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the Shamayim to give light on the Eretz. And it was so. And it says, look, then Eluah made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day. So there you go right there. The greater light, which is the sun, is to rule, y'all. It's to rule. It's to be a leader over the day. And the lesser light, which is the moon, is to rule. To rule the night. And I believe that's the Hebrew word mashal. It's related to the Hebrew word mashal, is to rule, to govern the night. And then it says he made the stars also. Eluah set them in the firmament of the Shamayim to give light on the Eretz and to rule over the day, y'all. The lights in the Shamayim are set up to rule. And remember, who is the lights of the Shamayim? The lights of the Shamayim represent, in a sense, Yasharal. Especially the stars, particularly the Kokabim, the stars. Eluah set them in the firmament of the Shamayim to give light on the earth and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide, y'all, the light from the darkness. And Eluah saw that was through. So that again, that lines up with here, where it talks about whom Yahuwah Kabbalah has set over all the luminaries of the Shamayim, in the Shamayim and in the world, that they, what is they? I'll submit is referring to the luminaries. The luminaries should rule on the face of the Shamayim and be seen on the Eretz and be leaders or rulers for the day and the night. That's just what Torah was saying in Genesis 1. The sun, moon, and stars, and all the ministering creatures which make their revolution in all the chariots of the Shamayim. In like manner, 12 doors Uriel showed me, open in the circumference. 12 doors Uriel showed me, open in the circumference of the sun's chariot in the Shamayim, through which the rays of the sun break forth, and from them is warmth diffused over the Eretz, when they are opened at their appointed seasons. So that goes back to Moedim, appointed times. And then also it's interesting, it talks about 12 doors. Some of the translations say 12 gates here. And y'all know there's 12 gates in the book of Revelation and in the New Jerusalem for the 12 tribes of Yasharal. So that's very interesting. And remember that Yasharal, we're supposed to be a light to the nations, right? Isn't the luminaries in the Shamayim, don't they provide light to the nations? You'll see how that all connects? So that's why Yahuwah talks about us being a light to the nations, because we are related to the luminaries. We are like the luminaries who provide the light to the nations, in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Uriel showed me these 12, so 12 doors Uriel showed me, open in the circumference of the sun's chariot, in the Shamayim, through which the rays of the sun break forth, and from them is warmth diffused over the earth, when they are opened at their appointed seasons, and for the winds and the spirit of the dew, and when they are open, standing open in the Shamayim at the ends. As for the 12 portals in the Shamayim, at the ends of the Eretz, out of which go forth the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of the Shamaim in the east and in the west. There are many windows open to the left and right of them, and one window at its appointed season produces warmth, corresponding as these do to those doors from which the stars come forth, according to as he has commanded them, and wherein they set corresponding to their number. And I saw chariots in the Shamaim running in the world above those portals in which revolve the stars that never set, and one is larger than all the rest, and it is that that makes its course through the entire world. Man, so this is just going through the things of the Shamaim, the luminaries in their courses, and it's talking about how their portals involved and chariots. Very interesting when you look at that. Because when you think about when Yahuwah had judged Mitzrayim, a lot of Yahuwah used in sometimes the weather, like it was a hailstorm and a great storm, and he used that to judge Mitzrayim. And there's a scripture that talks about that. It was Malachim that actually did that. It was Malachim that were dispatched that caused those judgments on Mitzrayim, which makes sense because when we were reading in last week in Enoch, it's Malachim who in a sense hold back or that Yahuwah puts in charge of those different things like rain, hail, storms, things like that, to control the weather and so on and so forth, and the seasons and things like that. I think it was in Psalms. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's like I thought it was like Psalm 70 something. Yeah, I found it. I think it's Psalm 78. Psalm 78. Yeah, look at this, y'all. Psalm 78. I'll start with verse 45. And this is going through the different plagues Yahuwah did on Egypt or Mitzrayim. It says, he sent swarms of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. He also gave their crops to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. You see this? With frost, y'all. So this is showing you that Yahuwah is using the weather in a lot of times to judge Mitzrayim. He also gave up their cattle to the hail, and their flocks to fiery lightning. You see this? He cast on them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, indignation, and trouble by what? By sending angels of destruction among them, y'all. He made a path for his anger. He did not spare their soul from death, but gave their life over to the plague. So what this is showing you, if you're reading it carefully, is that it was the angels of destruction who Yahuwah sent to cause all these plagues on Yasharal. For real. And you know that's what it was, because number one, we got a witness in Enoch. We talked about that last week, that it's the angels that assigned to these different weather things like frost and things like that, and hail and rain and so on and so forth. And it's these Malachim that are at these chambers and these portals that are in charge of these things as far as when it rains and when it doesn't. But if you look here in Revelation chapter 15, you see it says, then I saw another sign in the Shamayim, great and marvelous, 7 Malachim, having the 7 last plagues. For in them the wrath of Eluah is complete. And, if you keep going, then it goes into the different plagues. But, when you look at they're called the bowls. When you look at the plagues, a lot of them are very similar to what Yahuwah did to Mitzrayim, y'all. You see in verse 3, the waters became as blood, just like in Mitzrayim. Verse 12, the river dried up. Euphrates dried up. Verse 13, you see the frogs coming out, just like in Mitzrayim. Yahuwah had the frogs coming out, the plague of frogs. You see noises, you see thunders and lightnings, great earthquakes, etc., etc. But y'all just keep reading. Y'all can read that on your own, but you'll see it's very similar as far as the plagues on Mitzrayim. Yahuwah does it again to all the nations, y'all. You see in verse 21, hail. It says, and great hail from the Shamayim fell upon men. Just like Yahuwah caused the great hailstorm to happen in Mitzrayim. Each hailstone about the weight of a talent. Men blasphemed Eluah because of the plague of the hail, since that plague was exceedingly great. Now remember, these bold judgments were from Malachim, according to chapter 15. It was these 7 Malachim having these 7 plagues. Very interesting, nevertheless. But let's keep it going. Let's see. All right, this is 50, 60, 76. All right, we're almost done. And at the ends of the arets, I saw 12 portals open to all the quarters of the Shamayim, from which the winds go forth and blow over the arets. 3 of them are open on the face, the east of the Shamayim, and 3 in the west, and 3 on the right, the south of the Shamayim, and 3 on the left, the north. And the 3 first are those of the east, and 3 are of the north, and 3 after those on the left of the south, and 3 of the west. Through 4 of these come winds of blessing and prosperity. That's deep. That's very interesting. But from those 8, come hurtful winds. When they are sent, they bring destruction on all the arets, and on the water upon it, and on all who dwell thereon, and on everything which is in the water, and on the land. And y'all know the word for wind is ruach. In Hebrew is like ruach, which is related to ruach, spirit, like the ruach hakodesh. So that's just showing you that as far as that's concerned, wind is similar to like the ruach. So you have these different winds that symbolize different things, but 4 of them are blessings and prosperity, and the other 8 is some sort of judgment. That lines up with the scriptures, y'all. That lines up with the scriptures. There were times where there was judgments happening during the days of Mitzrayim in the book of Shemot or Exodus, and Pharaoh tells Moshe, "Please stop," and Moshe will pray and ask Yahuwah to stop the plague. It'll be like a wind that'll come through and cause everything to be thawed. You have the plague of locusts. Yahuwah will send a wind, and the plague will recede. Even when it was time for the children of Yasharal to cross over, and they crossed over the Red Sea, it was a wind that came through and split the sea. It was a wind that came through. But that's related to the Ruach. But nevertheless, let's keep going. When they are sent, they bring destruction on all the Eretz, and on the water upon it, and on all who dwell thereon, and on everything which is in the water, and on the land. And the first wind from those portals, called the east wind, comes forth through the first portal which is in the east, inclining towards the south. From it come forth desolation, drought, heat, and destruction. And through the second portal in the middle comes what is fitting, and from it there come rain and fruitfulness, and prosperity and dew. And through the third portal, which lies toward the north, come cold and drought. So you see, this is related to windows. That's why you hear the scriptures talk about, I believe it's in Malachi, I believe, where Yahuwah talks about opening up these windows, this window of the Shamayim, that you of blessing, that you have not room enough to receive. I believe it's like Malachi. Y'all know that's a pretty common verse that in the church they would use for tithing. See if I don't open up a window of blessing that you have not room enough to receive, something like that. Malachi 3, I was right there. Malachi 3:10. Look at this. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and try me now in this, says Yahuwah of Yahuwah Sabaoth. If I will not open for you the windows of the Shamayim, and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it, y'all. So that's showing you there's these windows, these portals in the Shamayim where the Most High can do these things. And that's associated with blessings. There's another scripture, I believe it's in Deuteronomy 28. It says, I think it's Deuteronomy 28. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28, verse 12. Look at this. This is in Deuteronomy. Everybody know about Deuteronomy 28. Look at this. The Yahuwah will open to you his thub treasure, the Shamayim, to give the rain to your land in this season, and to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. So this is just showing you those things. There really are like these portals in the Shamayim, these windows and things like that, where Yahuwah will pour things out onto you, as far as blessings. Even there's winds of blessings. I submit that may be related to like Ruach blessings that he will pour on you. He'll pour out his Ruach on you and do different things like that. Like, so on and so forth. But this lines up with the scriptures. It says, and through the second portal in the middle comes what is fitting, and from it there come rain and fruitfulness and prosperity and dew. And through the third portal, which lies toward the north, come cold and drought. And after these come forth the south winds. Through three portals, through the first portal of them inclining to the east, comes forth a hot wind. And through the middle portal next to it, there come forth fragrant smells, and dew, and rain, and prosperity, and health. And through the third portal lying to the west come forth dew and rain, locusts, and desolation. And after these, the north winds from the seventh portal in the east come dew and rain, locusts, and desolation. And from the middle portal come in a direct direction health and rain and dew and prosperity. And through the third portal in the west come cloud and hoarfrost, that means great frost, and snow and rain and dew and locusts. And after these four are the west winds. Through the first portal adjoining the north come forth dew and hoarfrost and cold and snow and frost. And from the middle portal come forth dew and rain and prosperity and blessing. And through the last portal which adjoins the south come forth drought and desolation and burning and destruction. And the 12 portals of the four quarters of the Shamaim are therewith completed, and all their laws and all their plagues and all their benefactions have I shown to thee, my son Methuselah. So y'all know that Methuselah was the son of Enoch. Enoch was Methuselah's dad. Y'all know Methuselah was the longest living person in the scriptures. You know, when grandma and them used to say, oh, there's Methuselah. The longest living person in the scriptures. At least that's recorded that we know of. You know what I'm saying? So, nevertheless, we're going to do this last chapter. Chapter 77. We're going to do this last chapter and be done. And the first quarter is called the east because it is the first, and the second the south because the Most High will descend there. Yeah, there in quite a special sense will he who is Baruch forever descend. And the west quarter is named the diminished because there all the luminaries of the Shamaim wane and go down. So that's talking about the west. That's why the east is always looked at as the beginning, and the west is looked at as like the back or the end. And we're in the west. This is the west, y'all. Babylon, America, the ends of the earth, where things is wicked, where all the demons are, where all the wickedness dwells. You know, we've been talking about that before. That's why the west a lot of times is looked at as not through. And then you even see the luminaries that Yahuwah created. They descend in the west. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So it's very interesting looking at that dynamic. But let's keep going. And the west quarter is named the diminished because there all the luminaries of the Shamaim wane and go down. And the fourth quarter, named the north, is divided into three parts. The first of them is for the dwelling of men, and the second contains seas of water, and the abysses and forests and rivers and darkness and clouds. And the third part contains the garden of righteousness. Man, hold up. I saw 7 high mountains, higher than all the mountains which are on the Eretz. And thence comes forth hoarfrost, and days, seasons, and years pass away. I saw 7 rivers on the Eretz, larger than all the rivers. One of them coming from the west pours its waters into the great sea. And that makes me wonder if that's actually prophetic about us, the living waters flowing from the west. These people of Yahuwah who are scattered to the ends of the earth, who living waters is now flowing from them. You know, living waters many times symbolizes the word, teachings, revelation, and things like that. And so yeah. Because it says that one of them coming from the west pours its waters into the great sea. And we know that the sea many times represents the other nations. The sea many times represents the marine kingdom. The living waters usually represent something through, like coming from Yahuwah's people, like teachings, the word. That's why the scriptures talk about Yahusha, he had said, out of my belly flows rivers of living waters. Living waters you can drink out of them. You can drink. It's hard for us to realize that because Babylon destroyed the earth. They polluted all the water, so we can't even think of the concept of drinking out of rivers anymore. But y'all know our ancestors used to drink. We could drink out of rivers and streams, y'all. There were still springs and all kind of stuff when during the ancient times when our people were ruling. You can literally just read the book of read Judges. What did they do during the book of Judges with Gideon and them? Didn't they just kneel down and drink out the lake, out the body of water? We can't even fathom that concept because Babylon they built all their factories right on the waterways to dump all the waste right in the waters, y'all. It polluted all the waterways, y'all. And then the waterways that are not polluted that you still can drink out of, they own that. They say, no, this is mine. And then what they do is they sell the water out and sell them in the grocery stores to you. That's what they bottle up that water and they put them in a grocery store. They say, no, you got to pay for that water. That's how that works, y'all. All the springs, and things like that you can just kneel down and drink out of. Oh no, that's private property. It's owned by some company, and they'll bottle it up and they'll sell it to you. You can buy it from HEB though. Y'all ever bought spring water before? I buy spring water all the time. Look at the back of the bottle and see it. They tell you exactly where they're getting the water from. You can't go over there and get it. You can't do that. And so anyway, the point is though, that's how it works. So that's probably the symbolism of what we're reading is probably talking about prophetic, about the children, the set apart people who are scattered to the west, and how living water will flow from them. It'll flow from them. And it'll even be in the midst of the nation. It'll go flow into the sea and provide living water in a sense. Revelation, teachings to those in captivity, those who are scattered, to those who can receive it. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it says the west pours its waters into the great sea, and these two come from the north to the sea and pour their waters into the Erythraean Sea in the east. And the remaining, and that probably sounds like it's probably the Nile. No, that's the sea though. Okay, it says, when I look it up real quick, it just says, when I Googled it, it says the ancient name of water between the Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, that's interesting. So that's out there east by Africa. But nevertheless, it says, and these two come from the north to the sea and pour their waters into the Erythraean Sea in the east, and the remaining four come forth on the side of the north to their own sea, two of them to the Erythraean Sea and two in the Great Sea, and discharge themselves there. And some say into the desert. 7 great islands I saw in the sea and in the mainland, 2 in the mainland and 5 in the Great Sea. That's very interesting. Very interesting. But all praise to the Most High. Let me see what y'all got here. Let's see what y'all got. Malachi Hilowal said, sharp dangers, those boundaries. Yeah, that's real. Khan. Yeah, that's when y'all talking about offering up strange fire. Khan. Todah Imyana Uzzah was his name. Todah, yeah, the one who had touched the Ark of the Covenant, and he died on the spot. Man. Khan. Natanya Smith, you referring to Nadab and Abihu. Khan. Cody Wansina, shalom and blessings to you. Shalom and blessings. Yeah, S. McCorkle, yeah. Man, if the Most High put the calendar in there, maybe all kind of people, man, perverting it and walking in it and handling it the wrong way. The time Smith, that's why it's given to the set apart people to know. Because y'all, these feast days are windows, very significant. Claiming it is there. That's Cody Wansina said, claiming it is there. That's right. That's it. Chepsy Ba said, profaning the Moeds. That's it. Cody Wansina said, me too, Mushar. Yeah, so y'all had you had was doing it on your own for a while too, huh? You started off like me. Chepsy Ba, you did that too? Yeah. Yeah, see? Y'all know. Y'all can relate. Praise Yahusha. Y'all know how it was. We was just like, man, let's Google when is Pesach. Like, man, when is Sukkot? Let me Google, when is Sukkot? I ain't understand, you know. I was just like, oh, okay. Like, for real. To Tanya Smith, the secret things belong to his people. For real. Malaki Ayulava, he actually asked one, yeah, when is Pesach? You know. Untop said, I observe it with the preparation day. Oh, you're referring to Shabbat. Understood. No, definitely understood there. Definitely understood. But yeah, if you ever want to look more into that, there's a I got into that a lot a couple of years ago. While we started on sunrise as far as Shabbat, but hey, you still keeping Shabbat. If you start at the end of preparation day, it's still, hey, you still not missing Shabbat. That's what's most important is that you're keeping it. So all praise to the Most High. Let's see. He said Cody Wancina said Khan. That's what they said. Natalia Smith said the Augsburg Confession. Constantine Creed says it all. Yeah, Khan, you right on it. When they changed the Sabbath and did all those things like that. Natalia Smith said a brew was saying that the curses are completely gone because of what JC did. Yeah, that's a super Christian mindset there, ideology. I've heard something similar to that before, especially in the church. Yeah. Yeah, Malaki Ahilua, he said, we all dressed out. I had that. Them pictures, they got the Easter suit on. Like, man. That's it, being a cycle breaker. Really being that really being that person to really like it's like redeem your generation. It's like when Malek be talking about redeeming your bloodline. That's being the first of your generation to reset and to be back serving Yahuwah and raise your children to do the same, so they'll go on and do the same with their children. And now you done reset your whole lineage back in alignment with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? It's really through. Nah, Maria said those Easter speeches. Oh man, y'all know, man. Easter used to be the biggest day at church. Everybody who don't go to church, they go to church on Easter. They'll go on Easter. They'll go on Easter, boy. Easter be full. Malaki Ahilua said, bro, wish I knew. Moving on in Ahava for real. Khan. Zaria said, Toda Yahusha, I get the chance to break that cycle at a young age. Praise Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. That's so real, Zaria. That's so real. Man. Oh, Malaki Ahilua, you work nights, huh? Oh, you used to, Chepsy Ba? Man. So y'all know then. Y'all know. She said, you right, your body adjusts to it. Yeah. Malaki Ahilua said, you be losing days, it seems like sometimes. Yeah, that's why, man. Look, working nights, man, look. Y'all got that. Y'all got that. For real. Yirmiyahu and Shamayahu said, Khan, they don't invite us anymore to the holidays. It's a relief for us. And as well, they don't invite us because we be telling them the truth about the holidays and they don't want to hear it, especially scripture. Yeah. That's real, though. That's real. Especially working graveyard is living the day backwards. I did it for years, still have the saddlebags in my eyes to prove it. Yeah. A lot of people, when they work night shift, they end up not sleeping, not getting enough sleep. It's just hard to sleep all day. So what happens is a lot of people, they be working all night and they'll maybe get about 4 hours of sleep in and still be moving around during the day. It's just hard because everything goes on during the day, daytime. Everything is open during the day. It's tough. That's why I just wouldn't recommend that for nobody. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So I understand. But I'm just saying, you got a choice, man. Look here. That day shift is much better. Cody Wancina said, let's see, Sun, Moon, and Stars. Malaki Al said, so through Sun, Moon, and Stars. Cody Wancina said, I did that one also for a short period. It was so chaotic trying to keep up and take days off from work for the Shabbat, man. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, you talking about the lunar Sabbath? Man, yeah, that'd be tough. You got to keep up with that every day. Shalom, shalom to you. Shalom, shalom. Bakir Ezra Hadassah, shalom Hudim. Shalom Hudim to you. Let's see. Malachi Hiluau said, sweet water to drink. That living water, yeah. Yirmiyahu and Shemayahu said, Khan, the mountain spring water that comes from the mountains, the city sells it to other cities that pay higher prices, and the lower communities get the lower end of the barrel. Man, that's real, though. That's real. That's crazy. Mr. L.W. Ringo said, it was interesting to me that it says the Most High descends from the south. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, too. I did, too. I have to look into that more on what that really means. Malaki Al-Hilal said, very interesting, that last piece, Khan. Natanya Smith said, we call them EMC, Easter, Mother's Day, and Christmas churchgoers. Hey, that's for real. Man, look, I know so many, man. I know some heathens, boy. They ain't care nothing about the Most High. They ain't care nothing about that. But they'll go to church on Easter. They'll do that, though. Yeah, that's so funny, y'all. All right, y'all. But much ahavah. I'm doing the throwback, y'all. This secret place. I know y'all forgetting about that secret place. But y'all, love y'all, Most High willing. We're going to do this again, not next week. But we'll do this again soon. Lakam la shalom, y'all.
Yahusha is your name. Yahusha. Yahuwah salvation. Yahuwah salvation. Yahusha. Yahusha. Yahusha is your name.